talk about it real quick. We're live now. We just seen. Let me turn this down. The Grizzlies just beat the Timberwolves to advance to the next round, so that's good.
Shout out to
Ja
Ja.
Morant, Ja Morant was able to find people wide open. Basically, what I've seen so far, the Grizzlies, man, they're not good at offense. They just run the floor real well. They put the pressure on people, make them tire out, get up and down that court. Because Carlton Towns had little dudes guarding him the whole night until like the end of the fourth quarter, and he didn't take advantage. He chose to shoot threes. So they play the Warriors next. If the Warriors are smart, they just make it a half court game and just beat them like that. Because if they try to run with them, the Grizzlies can steal games because that's how they beat them last year, and I think they beat them this year once or twice. I don't remember, but yeah, just they got to just keep it at a half court game, and then we got Suns versus the Mavericks. The Suns beat them all 4 times this year. I think that the Suns will beat the Mavericks again. I don't think the Mavericks have anybody that could guard Devin Booker, or
I
if
got
they
Luca.
guard Devin
I
Booker
got
real
Luca.
well. Hold on, I'm going and I'll let y'all speak on it. I think they got to choose, pick their poison with between Booker and CP3, and then we got the Sixers. Joel Embiid is out indefinitely versus the Heat. Since Joel Embiid is gone, no inside presence, which is the only thing that pretty much is the Heat's weakness with Bam Adebayo being kind of undersized. So I think the Heat gonna just dominate them, maybe 4-1. And the Celtics versus the Bucks. I know Chris Middleton's not there, but he's always shaky. You get 2 good games from Chris Middleton, or I should say 2 Hall of Fame games for Chris Middleton throughout the series. One okay game, and then there's always like 3 bad games by him. So I'm gonna still go with the Bucks, but I'm picking 7. I picked the Bucks in 7. But yeah, that's just my prediction for the first round. Farrell, go ahead, do your prediction for the whole entire playoffs.
Um, my prediction. I kind of agree with you. I do like Luca. The Suns should beat them though, but I do think that Luca does all he can. I I do like the Warriors to beat Memphis. John Morant hasn't been performing. I don't know if he turns it up against the Warriors, but it's just for some reason he's not showing that legendary status who I once spoke of him as. But I mean the the Grizzlies are playing good as a team, so I give them a small chance. But I think the Warriors. Of course, I think yeah, I think the Bucks beating whoever that is, and then Embiid is unfortunate that Embiid's out because that sucks, man. That really does suck. So yeah, maybe the Heat.
What about Bucks and Celtics? With Chris Middleton, he's gonna
Oh,
miss
okay,
every
yeah.
game unless it's game 6 or 7.
I think
He
the
might be back.
I think the Bucks. I do think Jason Tatum is on fire right now, but he's not. He can't mess with Giannis, bro. Like you can't stop Giannis. You can't stop Giannis, and I do think that I do think Giannis can stop Jason Tatum.
All right, go ahead,
Giannis
Mikey.
will not be checking. Number one, Giannis will not be checking Jason Tatum, vice versa.
They're both power forwards.
Um, huh?
Both play the
Grant
floor though.
Williams. Grant Williams is gonna be guarding Giannis for the most part. Daniel Tice gonna be guarding
Exactly,
Giannis for the most part. And then
exactly.
for the Bucks, it's probably gonna be Drew Holiday on Tatum, or they might put what's his name on him?
It makes
Fuller.
sense. I got the Celtics in dominant fashion. Actually, I wouldn't be shocked if it's 4-2 for the Celtics, but if Chris Middleton's not playing this series, I for sure see no way they wins. I think the Celtics, from a defensive aspect, is going to be a problem. Drew Holiday will struggle to get past Marcus Smart, even if he win the matchup. I think he's gonna have to work so hard. to the point it wouldn't be beneficial for them. And I think the coaching of Udoka is going to really it's going to guide the Celtics to a dominant win. He comes from the teachings, like I said, when I made the prediction that they sweep the Nets of Greg Popovich, and I think the game plan for the to beat the Bucks was set in stone. When they played the Heat, not last year but the year before, and obviously when they played against the Raptors, 2-3 zone. All Giannis is literally going to do, if no transition, he's going to get the ball and run to the basket. They could build the wall and stop him from doing that. He will still get his points, but he will have to do a lot of volume shooting and attempting shots. I think it'll burn them up, especially without the help of Chris Middleton.
All right,
Celtics
and
in five.
it's kind of small, but what's his name? I can't remember his name. Marlon Vera is fighting. Can't remember his name off the top of
Rob
my
Font.
head. The guy,
Rob Font.
yeah,
Rob
Rob.
Font.
So who do you guys have winning that? To me, that's like two up and comers that have struggled. They both lost to Jose Aldo. So who do you guys have winning that fight?
Now, okay, so I jump on that first. Now, I think Rob Font is the more technical fighter with that jab, but I think that beating he took from Aldo, I do think Marlon Vera, he's similar to Aldo. He's not as good as Aldo, but similar. Uh, so I'm gonna go on a limb and say the underdog, man. I think Marlon Vera beats him. I think Marlon Vera beats him. I think that he does a lot of things that Aldo does when it comes to explosiveness and his
Who
attacks.
has the power
So,
advantage?
what's the name has the Marlon Vera has the power.
Okay, I just wanted to see who has the speed advantage.
Font.
I think Marlon Vera is more explosive. Font got the length and he has that jab, but I don't think that's gonna work on him. That's not gonna work on Marlon Vera.
Okay, who
Card
has
is
better weapon?
But the card sucks though. The card sucks. The co-main event is Andre Arlovsky versus that Jake Collier dude. Malky, Jake Collier is that youngin that Jake Collier is that youngin that was, I think, before the pandemic he was a welterweight, and then after the pandemic he's a fat sloppy heavyweight.
You talking about the guy that was 180 that's 260?
No, I think he was like 150. Now he's like 260. Yeah,
There's somebody that's 180 that was like that's 260
yeah,
now.
that's him.
Um, I don't
He's
really
the
think Vera do. I don't really think Vera have a crazy amount of similarities to Aldo. I pick Rob Font by decision, but I will
Yeah,
say Rob Font does too much fighting fast. It's almost remind me of Aljamain Sterling. Like he just do an extreme amount of stuff just to do it, and I'm like, bro, you are burning out. But I'm gonna go on the limb and say he wins a comfortable UD.
I would agree with
yeah.
y'all. I think that Ron Font does fight a little too fast. I think he fights with too much energy. He
Too
wasted
much.
he wasted on a lot of flashy stuff, and then it ends up breaking him down at the end of the fight. It takes away a lot of his power, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Vera. He's more of a stalker type, where he's going to try and load up with big shots, but he's going to wait till you're in position to the point like, oh yeah, you can't really do anything unless you're either going to swing back at me, or you're going to just take the shot or block it or some way find a way to dodge it. But he's a walk you down type. But I think that Rob Font, the key to him winning this fight is to just take him down, hold him there. Marlon Bear, he's real scrappy on the ground. He's not real technical, but he has warrior spirit and getting up. So I think Font should just point fight him to the decision. But I got Marlon Vera by knockout. I don't think
Yeah,
Rob
I
Font.
agree with you, Ruger. I don't know about knockout, but I agree. Maybe stop is fourth round.
Yeah, that's what I predict knockout in the later rounds. So how you got it, Malky? Who you think wins?
I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm gonna pick Rob Font by UD. They 5 rounds or three?
5. This main event.
3 rounds to two. But I think it's gonna be a clear 3 rounds to two, where it's like he won 3 rounds. I think he's actually gonna win the first 3 rounds, and we're gonna be like, dang, he almost got clipped. And I think round 4 and 5, he's ultra exhausted. But the
You
first
know
three
he missed
rounds,
weight though, right?
Who missed weight?
shoot, that might further go on to what I'm saying. He
Who missed
might
weight?
really be burnt.
Ralph Font missed weight.
Oh yeah, he's about to get cooked, bro.
All right. And then we just get straight into boxing
Let's
because
do it. Let's
NFL's
do
out
it.
of
Cause I've
season right
been
now.
waiting.
We
Let's
got
do it.
a
I've been waiting
good
for this.
card. The Katie Taylor and Men's Serrano. That whole card's pretty good. A lot of we got what was his name? Malky. Who's fighting Almo Williams again?
Jaden.
Oh, Cordell Booker.
Oh yeah, Cordell Booker. Then we have the Olympian, the UK prospect. The one looks like Amir Khan. I don't know how to say his name. It's like
Jafai.
Jafai, yeah, he fights, and then we
Oh,
also
Calvin
got
Fire.
Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis also fights. Um, but I just want to speak on the Ammo Williams, Cordell Booker. Who you think wins that, Malky?
I'm gonna go on the limb and say Ammo Williams. Um,
I
Cordell
got the
Booker.
one.
Cordell Booker had a lot of hype when he turned pro. His recent performances, um, it don't seem like the boxing world is behind him, or it could be this is the fight where he finally get to show how great he was projected to be. But I'm gonna pick Ammo Williams. He has a lot of Earl Spence in him to me.
Okay.
Uh, Ammo Williams, UD or late stoppage.
I don't think it's gonna be a stoppage personally. I got Ammo Williams by UD. I think his body frame is gonna give Cordell Booker a problem. I don't think he's ever fought nobody at this dude's size. So I think that's gonna be too much for Cordell Booker, especially just early in his career. So I got him by decision. What about you, Prince?
Well, I'm gonna skip my prediction until we get to my fight. I want to talk about. I don't care who wins those fights.
Okay. So then we also got Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. Now this is a big fight. This is young fighters fighting each other. We don't know if they're in their prime or reaching their prime, but this is what I love to see because this sets up. Even if let's just say one person wins, it's controversial. It's a tie. It's one sided. It's always room for a rematch later on. They don't have to rematch right away. They could rematch later on. Somebody could come back, make a comeback. And I love seeing this. So, who do you guys have winning that fight? Go
Malky.
ahead, Prince. Oh yeah, you said you wanted to go last. All right, who do you got, Malky?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, sure, I can go. Malky, you want to
Okay,
go?
now go first.
All right. So that Shakur and Valdez fight, I think that like you said, Ruger, I agree. It's a very good fight. Both two fighters, even if they're not in their prime, this is the best I feel like they're both gonna get. These guys are really, really good. I personally think Shakir, he's gonna beat him a decision, a UD. I can see this being a classic fight though. I do think having Chico in Valdez corner, they're gonna come up with a really good game plan of trying to cut off the ring and maybe throwing good body shots to slow Stevenson down. But I just think Shakur is just, he's really good on the outside. He's one of the best outside fighters of boxing today when it just comes to just pure just distance and ability from the outside. So I got Shakur winning a very close decision, maybe split decision. Yeah. For any betting fans, I would bet this fight to go to distance though. I don't see a knockout.
All right, I'm gonna get my prediction. I'll let you go last, Malky.
Okay.
For this fight, they both said don't be surprised if there's a knockout. So that's telling me they're both in shape. But when Stevenson says it, it's like he's not. I feel like he's coming with a game plan. He's going to stand his ground. He's not really going to give him too much leeway, but he's not going to press the action like he did against Jamel Herring. Because he said he was going to knock out Jamel Herring, and he said it with confidence. So if he would have said it like that, I would have picked Shakur by knockout. But I think he's going to dominate Valdez on the outside. So I think Stevenson's going to win this one, maybe 9 rounds to 3. I think Valdez might steal 2 rounds and then win 1 round off of Shakur, pretty much coasting. But I see Shakur dominating for most of this fight. And if there's anybody that does get the knockout, I would say that it would be Shakur because Valdez also said don't be surprised if there's a knockout. But how do you see it, Malcolm?
Yeah, I think, man, you pretty much within the same room. Um, I didn't think per se how many rounds that I thought Oscar Valdez would win, but I just think it's gonna be the case that we always see when it's an elite level Mexican against the athletic American fighter. I think Oscar Valdez is an extremely good fighter, but I think his short arms and his extremely short height is going to be a problem for him no matter how amazing the game plan is. I don't think he has the athleticism or the height or the overall build to even utilize it. I think Shakur Stevenson's does kind of stand his ground though, like Floyd and Marquez, where it's like he's kind of semi medium mid range. He's able to jab, get in and out. I don't see him doing too much fighting with Valdez, and I don't really see Shakur going for the knockout. That's really fits into what Valdez like to do. And the shorter target, it ain't really too easy to get your stuff off offensively. So I'm gonna say Shakur win a lopsided UD, and he shows how great he is. But Valdez show how good he is as well. It's just you see he's outmatched, like Earl and Mikey and Mayweather Marquez.
Do you
Flawless
get
victory.
the Joey Gonzalez vibe?
Yeah. Um, Only because I think Valdez's intent is gonna be I'm gonna be aggressive. I just see him getting beat to the punch with the jab
Malky, that
severely,
fight is
and he
not
gets
gonna look
down.
anything like no Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia, so you can stop it.
I said Earl Spence and Mikey or Mayweather Marquez, and I'm talking from the
That looks
perspective
nothing
of
like no. That looks nothing. No, you're talking from the perspective of domination. That fight is gonna be a competitive fight, and whoever wins is gonna be majority decision or split.
I
Oh,
don't get I
I'm
don't get
getting
that vibe at all. I think it's gonna be clear cut, and I feel within round two, when we get to round two, we're gonna know the outcome of the fight unless a person gets a knockout. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward throughout the night. Right
Round
away, you're
two.
going to know. Yes, in round two, we're going to get the feel or the vibe of the fight can't keep going like this.
No, I disagree.
all right. So
Well, we'll have this talk after the fight.
I think you're very stupid.
Well, I know you've been wrong lately,
all right.
right?
Let's talk about the fight that the biggest fight in women's boxing in what? How many years?
All
Ever.
right,
It's the
I
biggest
got
fight
this. Let
ever.
me take this over, Ruga. I'll handle this because this is the
Okay,
fight
go
that
ahead.
I've been wanting to talk about. So we have Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, number one and number two, right? Um, actually, Ruga, I want to get your prediction first, then I'm gonna get Malky, and then I'm gonna finish it off. Okay.
They two of the top
Uh,
three.
yes, two of the top three, but two. I think this is the most anticipated women's fight in history. And I do agree with you, Mikey. Two of the top three, because I do put Clarissa Shields as probably number one. But I won't argue after tomorrow who wins, you can put them as number one because
Yeah,
at
you
least they're
have
a
to.
little bit more relevant than Clarissa Shields. For some reason, Clarissa Shields isn't getting the credit or isn't get putting the fans in the seat. I don't know why, but
I think that MMA definitely stopped that boxing hiatus kind of haunted her.
All
Carry
right.
on.
all right. So real good. Give me your prediction on this fight.
Okay, I was just looking at some of the NFL draft because that's going on. Maybe we'll talk about the NFL draft when Killer's here next week when it's I think there's only one big fight, but I want to talk about that with Killer because that's more Killer's sport right there. And but let's get back to the Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. For me, I got Amanda Serrano. I think if Katie Taylor was to win, that means she has to establish the straight right hand, the lead straight, to and back Serrano up because if Serrano's able to push her back, to me, Katie Taylor's not that good at fighting off the back foot, and her check hook doesn't really have any power behind it. So if Amanda Serrano's pushing forward, then more than likely she's winning the fight. So I'm going with Amanda Serrano by decision. I'm gonna give her clear cut decision, not a pure domination, but you know who won the fight. So 8 rounds to 4. Um, I also feel like this is for the title. Who's the baddest chick on the planet? Because it's at one of the bigger women's weight. I think what lightweight. So
Hmm.
so if I was them, I would like really broadcast this as the baddest chick on the planet, or baddest bitch on the planet, baddest woman on the planet, whatever title they want to call it, whatever they feel like is
Well, I'm sure you're not
presentable
gonna
to
say the
them.
baddest bitch on the planet.
That shit would be hard though. And then you could have like some type of performer like that or something perform at the show. Have Jake Paul do
I
it.
don't even think Katie Taylor would love being called that.
Yeah. But you never know. I'm just saying. I said baddest chick, whatever they want to call it. Like it's up to them. I'm not calling them that. I'm just saying these are titles that I was thinking of that are pretty much promote the fight, and that would like really bring attention to the fight if they win. So but that's my prediction. I got Amanda Serrano winning. But go ahead, Monkey.
Couldn't have said it any better. I have Amanda Serrano winning. Let me give a quick breakdown, and then I'm gonna wrap this one up. But I got Amanda Serrano winning a UD and a competitive fight. I think it's understood right away that Katie Taylor is the more technically sound boxer, but I just feel we're gonna get shades of Lomachenko and Teofimo. I feel like once that weight detection come in and she feels Amanda Serrano presence, like you said, she can't fight amazing off the back foot, almost like Lomachenko. I feel like as long as she's dictating the pace and she got you either stationary or moving back, that's when she's at her best. If you the one applying pressure and she really got to slip, she can't really, to me, mount a crazy amount of offense. In order for her to win, she would have to get off to a good start, and she would have to let Amanda Serrano know, like every time you throw, I'm probably going to counter to keep her hesitant. I don't see that. Amanda Serrano 8 rounds to 4, not really dominant, but it's clear cut because Katie Taylor refuses to engage.
Okay, that's kind of how I
Okay.
see it.
Okay. So now it's time for Big
Very similar.
Papa's prediction. All right.
Uh,
My prediction in the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor fight is I disagree with both of you guys heavily. I think Katie Taylor take this one. I do think she's the class of the division. Now I do give Amanda Serrano a chance because I feel that with her power, her size, and her aggressive style, she can possibly break Katie Taylor. But I just don't see it happening because it's 2 minutes. I don't even know if it's 12 rounds. I thought women's was 10 rounds. Okay, even if it's
you
12
might
rounds,
be
it's two
right.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's 2 minutes, and I think Katie Taylor's in enough shape to. I think what's gonna happen is I disagree with you guys when you say she don't fight well off the back foot. She fights very well off the back foot, hence those
Definitely.
2 gold medals. She's a great counter puncher.
Slapping.
She has a good pull counter. She has a jab, and she forces her jab on you, and then she forces you to knock her jab down to get on the inside, and then she pulls counters. She does that excellently. I see her doing that to Amanda Serrano. Now Amanda Serrano normally does steamroll these girls, But this is different from Katie Taylor. She's going to get countered to death. Like this is Amanda Serrano's too aggressive. She's too aggressive. She's gonna be getting picked with counters. Early on, Malky, I do agree with you on one thing you said. It's gonna be apparent that Katie Taylor is the better boxer and the more skilled uh, fighter. I do think that Amanda Serrano does. I think Katie Taylor got dog, but I do think Amanda Serrano got dog as well. For her keys to victory, she would just have to dog her. She would have to take her deep in the waters, and she would have to place her shots to hope to wear down Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor got dog too, so if she want a dog, she gonna get her ass bit. So um, I got Katie Taylor winning by decision. I do see this being a very competitive fight. I'm calling it right now, guys. This is a split decision win for either fighter, but I just got Katie Taylor. I think Katie Taylor is just listening to both of them talk. I just think that Amanda Serrano is showing way too much respect for Katie Taylor. She's making it seem like Katie Taylor, because Katie Taylor, let's be honest, between her and Clarissa Shields, that's the face of women's boxing. You know what I mean? And most people would say, will put Katie Taylor over Clarissa. I don't, but most people will. So I feel like
Most people. Mhm.
Amanda Serrano just looking at it as, hey, look, you know what? Katie Taylor paved the way and yada 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 and all this stuff. So it's a little dream come too much of a dream come true for for Amanda Serrano, where I feel like Katie Taylor has been in these predicaments before because of the Olympics twice for her country. So that's a big platform. That's a big stage. So I think that if there's anyone that's to come out a little jittery or nervous, it would be Amanda Serrano.
I
I
don't
think
think this
I
stuff.
disagree. I think if anyone was to come out jittery of the two, I feel like it'd be Katie Taylor, especially once. I feel like I feel
Coming to
like
America.
Amanda. I feel like yeah, her coming to America, like I told you earlier off air. My personal opinion is, while winning the gold medal is a huge accomplishment, she's never same with Amanda Serrano. They've never fought on a stage like this. This is going to be a
But it
new
doesn't matter
experience for
about the
both of them.
stage. It doesn't
The
matter
stage
about the stage,
definitely.
bro. When you
When
fight,
you're on top,
the stage in the Olympic Center, bro, is way bigger because you're looking at it from a fan standpoint.
Nah, nah, nah.
Bro,
I've
I'm
seen
looking
Olympic
at it
matches.
from
When the girls
every,
fight, people are
bro,
barely watching.
everybody is watching. No, everybody's watching because it's televised around the whole world. So
But yeah,
it's
you
everybody's
can see
televised.
watching.
people on the
It's
camera.
televised, but the
And you
world
don't
is
know
going to
what
be
it
in the
means to
building.
somebody in that country to win a medal. So that's a lot of
And not
pressure.
only
She's
that,
not
it's a
gonna have
different
pressure.
style of fighting.
I get that, but it's a different style of fight. It's three rounds total. People is actually gonna be there. You're gonna feel the energy from the crowd, the boos, the ring entrance. It's gonna definitely have an aura. I do agree
Well, I
with
don't
you
know why
though.
you said people wasn't there. People were there for the 2012 and 2016. COVID wasn't there.
I'm
You
saying,
making it seem
bro,
like
I'm
this
talking
in
about
2020.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
here's the thing.
bro,
While winning the for your country, we already know it's difficult. You can't cherry pick or do none of that. That's fine. But ultimately, this win is better than her two ranked gold medals because this win would solidify her as the GOAT. The importance of this fight is different than the medal. I know a lot of
and
boxers say they value their medal more, but whoever win this have a certain claim, and that building's gonna be filled. Both
not
of them
only
may be
that,
nervous. We don't know, but
not,
I
not
think
only that,
right to say Amanda Serrano is going to be the nervous of the two, while she thinks she's the
She
best. I
will.
think is a bit dramatic.
She no, she will. I think you're just dramatic.
all right,
That's that.
No,
now
I
I'm gonna
think they
give my
both think
part
they're the
on that.
best.
Now that
Hmm.
I'm saying when she comes to America, this ain't gonna be a slap boxing match like the Olympics. This is gonna be a fight where she gonna have to dig deep. She's gonna have to dig deep because these punches gonna hurt.
Hmm.
She's gonna be coming right at her. It's gonna be more than 3 rounds. So when she get around the 6th round, that's when it's really gonna kick in. We gonna know who gonna win this fight after the 8th round. It's gonna be that close of a fight to me. Like after the eighth
Yeah,
round, we're gonna be like, okay, we got these last 2 rounds. She needs to win these next 2 rounds, or she loses. I don't think she could do it, and
Right.
that's just how
Well,
I
I can't
feel.
say this. I
That's a
can't say
very
that.
good. That's a very good assessment.
I can't say this. I can't say that that fight right there will be the best fight of the night when it comes to every fight that's fighting tomorrow night. I really think that
Competitiveness.
yeah, competitive. It's
Absolutely.
gonna be the most competitive fight, and this is gonna be overall good. I feel like both fighters are good representation, good representers for
Women's
women
boxing.
boxing. So I do think that they're going to open eyes about women's boxing. So this is a step up. Now this is something Clarissa Shields failed to do multiple occasions. For some reason,
I ain't gonna
just
say
You know
she's
her
what?
failed.
performances
I'm
don't.
kind of
I,
mad
It's just
Eddie
her
Hearn is
performances don't look
afraid
progressive. I
of.
don't. It doesn't look like she's good. Like you can see the skill, the talent, just everything. But for some reason, she just fails to impress.
I think it's the. I don't know. I think her lack of dancing partners, and I feel like in the UK, the heavy support because Katie Taylor had two performances that I feel of Clarissa Shields. Well, Clarissa Shields didn't have a great performance against um, what's her name? The fight that some people actually think she lost when she got dropped. I forgot her
Oh,
name.
Hannah Gabriel.
Hannah Gabriel. Yeah.
Who won that fight?
Um. as- Aside from that fight, she's been pretty dominant. But I'm like, Katie Taylor had a
I mean,
few
she's
hit
been
or misses.
dominant. But look at the girl she's been dominant. It's just I don't think even though it's dominant, it's just like I don't want to say boring. It's just like okay, so I said I don't know. I just feel like when you have the Michaela
Mm,
Myers, you have the Amanda Serranos, and then you have the Katie Taylors. Like at
I don't
least
see
their
how Katie
performances is
Taylor is.
more stellar. Like it's just stellar performances.
But Katie Taylor don't have a lot of stellar perform. Like she has stellar
She
performances,
what?
and she don't have a lot of stellar performances, bro. Like she has semi-competitive fights. Like her
Bro,
fights that, like I
you talking about one fight. Name me other competitive fight. 'Cause if you talking
no,
about the
bro.
girl
I'm
she just
talking.
dealt
I
with,
watched every
she fought
single
her
Katie
again
Taylor.
and beat her
Bro, I
sensibly.
watched every Katie Taylor fight. She probably has about three fights where it's like, "Hey, son, this is
So
crazy."
whoever's tuning in, this will happen tomorrow. Amanda Serrano is gonna be utterly aggressive, just like that one girl that fought Katie Taylor in the rematch that a lot of people thought she won when she won
Delphine
the belt.
Persoon.
Her and she got battered the second fight because she wanted to be too aggressive and was just running into endless counter shots. Got her eye and face swelled up, and she looked like one of those Muppet characters.
Styles make fights,
So
but Del Persoon is definitely not Amanda Serrano. And
no,
that
she's
could be the
not.
same
But
about everybody Serrano's fought
no,
as
but
well.
she's not. No, and she's not. She's not. I give you that. But she's as aggressive as Amanda Serrano, and we all know if you're
She got
a
the
very
power man
talented
got there.
counterpuncher, if you're a very talented counterpuncher, and I don't care how aggressive you are, you will get bopped. You cannot rush slick counterpunches. Okay, look, I'm sorry, not slick, but you can't rush good counterpunchers. There's no way, and not trying to change the subject, the topic of fighters.
Right.
There's no way Errol Spence can just rush Terrence Crawford. He's too
True,
skilled of a counterpuncher. You're
true, but
going to
his
get.
But that's when you say that the counterpuncher got power though, because we seen what
Well,
happened.
no, it's not just. But who's a every puncher? Like, look, every puncher in boxing
There's
can punch.
Landy Lara.
If your name is not Paulie Malignaggi, like
Katie
every
Taylor
puncher
is not
hurt.
that great. I like answer this question. Me
So
personally,
hurt.
I never viewed Loma as a great counterpuncher. I feel like Katie Taylor is within that realm. Like I feel like her countering is at her best, at it like at its best when she's been first dictating the action, have you stationary or backing up. Then she reads your offense well and she can react off of it. I feel like if
Well,
Amanda
Norman's a
Serrano
very good
is
counterpuncher.
then
It's just Norman's always coming forward, so he doesn't
no,
have
that's what
much
I'm
room.
saying.
Jared Hurd
He's
beat Erzlan Lar.
who?
Okay.
Jared Hurd beat Erzlan Lar just coming forward,
Yeah,
rushing.
Yeah, but he was getting kicked apart to death. It's just Lord
I don't.
tired out. Now
And
can't see
that's
Katie
that
what I'm
Taylor
happening
ain't
saying.
a
to.
big
Katie
puncher,
Taylor
bro.
don't have
I
power.
can I can see that. No, no, Laura does have power. Laura just counters with one shot and one shot only. That's it. That's all Laura
Katie,
does. He doesn't
Katie
throw
Taylor
any.
don't got
I
Laura,
just
power.
Laura,
think
that fight literally didn't throw any other variety but the 1-2. That's literally every any punch. He didn't throw an uppercut. He didn't throw a body shot. He didn't throw a hook. I just seen Laura throw the 1-2. That's it. That's all Laura does.
I'm eager for this fight because it is a lot of variables. Like this is a 50-50 fight, but I really see Amanda Serrano hand raise. As good as Katie Taylor boxes, I do think she can counter like Loma, but I feel it's only I feel she could only counter when she's dictating the pace. I feel like if she's getting backed up, I don't feel like because she's not a sniper. She
If
like
I
move.
if I really want to make some bread, I'll probably bet the draw on this fight.
Now I'll say this. I will say this. By Katie Taylor being the visiting fighter, if she does legitly win, I hope it's not a robbery. Like I hope she legitly gets her hand raised if she won the fight. Like I don't want to see a person lose this fight and they get their hands raised. So I'm gonna be clear on that. Like whoever wins deserves the actual win. And it's lit she coming over here. So hopefully she get a fair shot if it go to a decision. I'd be very shocked if it doesn't. But this fight of the year so far to me.
All right. The only thing that pisses me off about this fight, the only thing that pisses me off about this fight is that Eddie Hearn's a part of it, and we finna hear how he's gonna say, "Well, I put on the best women's fight in history." Like I don't want to hear that shit from him. I'm hella mad. He's a part of it. I wish Jake Paul was able
I but I think him and Jake Paul are she arguably the two best promoters in the game right now.
Hell no, bro. Eddie Hearn don't get no good fights for none of his clients.
So
Dylan
PBC give
White,
us a good fight.
Dylan White had to he had to wait 499,000 days to get his title shot. He's an Eddie Hearn
So
fighter. Um, Devin Haney had to literally sign to HBO or Top Rank, I should say, just to fight Cambosa in a shitty deal. Like he's not a good promoter.
but how can you say that when PBC have constantly been giving us? Because I would like to believe if you think they poor promoters, then you would have to think PBC and them are great promoters, and they've been
No,
providing.
they're all shitty promoters. I think
Oh
who is
shit!
the
Well, all
best?
right then. I guess we're on the same boat then, because
Well,
nobody's been
I would
providing
say this
quality.
though about PBC. They got a better schedule coming up than the Zone.
Who on their schedule? Canelo?
Did you
No,
see
not
the
Canelo.
Showtime schedule? The Showtime schedule
That
is pretty good.
schedule was trash. All they had was that I'm eager to see. They had
Hold on.
Scooter, Cool Boy Steph, him versus Daniel Roman. That's a cool fight. Charlo is fighting Sulecki, the guy who got destroyed by Demetrius Andrade and beaten by um Danny Jacobs and countless others. That's headlining horrendous fight. Charlo Castaño, that's cool. What else?
So they had Spence versus Ugas.
You said upcoming.
I was talking about when they laid it out earlier this year because I remember they had a post. I want to find that post.
Yeah,
I
it was
can't
a
find.
trash card.
No, it was a pretty good schedule. It was a
No,
pretty
I
good
thought that was.
schedule right here. First half. So they had Tenzu versus Toro Goucher, Erickson Lubin versus
But
Fendor.
you said upcoming.
No, I'm saying like For the first
Okay,
half,
even okay, even first half. Include first half.
David Benavidez versus David Lemieux. That's decent.
That's not that great of a fight. He's a
Yeah,
middleweight and this is an
it's decent.
oversized.
Charlo versus Castano.
That's
Two.
cool.
That's
That's
great.
good. That's
That's
good.
great.
That's
That's one
actually
was
great.
cool.
You're right. That's great.
Devontae Davis versus Rolly Romero. Now, people might say that's not great, and it's to me, it's a
It's a
decent
fight. It's
fight.
something people interested in. I give you that.
And yeah, it's an up and comer. It's two up and
I'm
comers.
interested in it just for the
Okay,
theatrics alone.
Fulton Jr. versus Danny Roman. That's a good fight, like you
That's a
said.
great fight.
Now, that's a lucky fight. Is terrible. But then we got Mark Marcial versus Ray Vargas. That's a great fight.
Okay, I'll say this. That might be. I think I could be so not of a fan of Mark Masago. I'm not interested. So I'm not gonna be biased and
I
say
don't
it's a good
I
or
don't
bad
believe
fight.
the hype, but that's still a great fight at that level. Because to me,
I
it's
don't
just
really know too much about Ray Vargas like that. Like I don't have an extensive Ray Vargas background to get excited about it.
and then I'll look at the design schedule because it was terrible.
Let's see. I know
Uh,
Canelo and Bivol on there so far.
hold on.
I
Here
think
we
that's
go.
better than every fight we just announced.
All right. Taylor versus Serrano.
That's amazing, bro.
Yeah, that's amazing. Uh,
Canelo and Bivol is amazing.
Canelo Bivol Scardina versus De Corolis. Ramirez versus Bosile. Laura Har Laura Raga versus Metcalf. Uh Buatsi versus Richards. And then who's Sunday, May 22nd and June 10th. As you can see those names, it just wasn't good. I know the Buatsi dude, that's the heavyweight. Let me see. Because it just wasn't no, it was just it just this schedule is just boo boo, bro. I'm looking at the Canelo undercard in this trash, bro. Zhang versus Hergovich. What you call it? Love. What's his name? Dude from Cleveland versus Venezuela. Scardina versus Dick Rose. Yeah, these cards is doo doo, bro. Yeah, bro. Zuko versus Nokolic. Nokolic, I mean. Bermudez versus Kyoguchi. Now, I think that's for like the flyweight championship. Um, Wang Visai versus Rodriguez. That's for like the flyweight, super flyweight championship. Um, yeah, bro. The cards are trash. Van Heerden versus. Oh, that fight has already happened. Yeah, and their last couple fights was Van Heerden versus Connor Bean. Um, Golovkin versus Murata. That was a decent fight. Ryan Garcia versus Togo or Togo, whatever the hell his name was. That was terrible. Um, Mosley Jr. versus Gabriel Zotto. That was fucking anything. But it was a good fight, I guess, from the training value. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of boo boo fights. Now
Uh,
the thing with Eddie Hearn, he's in charge of he's like a major head part of the zone, but he doesn't promote all those fighters, which is different. But I'm saying as a promoter, because I speak on his big name fighters, he doesn't really get them big fights. His money man is
here's the pro-
Canelo and Anthony Joshua. Other than that, he don't really take care of people.
Here's the problem. Like his guys seem to be financially taken care of. I do think that
But they
a lot
going
the
bankrupt.
this is what I'm saying. I think the problem that comes into play is some of these guys by Al Heyman winning that obviously that lawsuit. Golden Boy had all the fighters, so by default they took De La Hoya fighters. Al Heyman literally got a lot of the elite level guys that's at the same weight, minus the middleweight, which Eddie Hearns is pretty much controlling. Um, I think relative to the situation, I think he's made a lot of fights. Relative is just PBC don't seem to work with other promoters unless it's a thing like Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua, where it's like we got a fighter that's on the show. We don't think highly of him, but it's a free bag and it's for a belt. F it, let's take that chance.
Yeah, they
Or they do it
they don't go with other promoters when they're the sure B side. There's no argument.
exactly. Or in this instance, Wilder and Fury, I think by Wilder being the type of guy he is, he demanded that fight. And I think they was it was easy for them to make because they thought Fury was a fat cokehead. I say that to say I do believe that Eddie Hearns is willing to work with these guys. As wild and crazy as it sounds, I don't blame Hearns and them because I believe they willing to work. I do believe Bob Arum was willing to make some of these fights that he was getting crucified for not. But I do think that he ain't want to pay no money for a lot of those fights, which is why we ain't get them. Prince left. Yo, shoot, I guess we could wrap it up. This was a pretty good episode, though.
All right, I had to throw that in the trash real quick, but yeah, that's it. So I want to speak on. It was pretty good fight schedule, but that's it for the show.